Hey everyone, welcome back. Saturday, and I am running some errands, so I thought I'd take you along with me. We're going into Courtney, and sorry for the bumpiness. And I've got to do a few things, get some groceries, that sort of stuff. My sister-in-law visited last week, the week before last, from Alberta. And it was a fantastic visit. She's camera shy, so I did not film any of that. Anyways, when we were in Courtney, she found a pair of jeans that she loved. She's quite petite, and so she always has trouble finding jeans that fit, that she doesn't end up having to hem, that sort of thing. And she found a pair, and they had two of her size of that brand of jean at the store, and she called me just the other day, asked me if the next time I was in Courtney I could stop by and pick up the second pair, because she's absolutely loving those. So I'm gonna do that, and we'll just have a chat. Okay, we're in Courtney. I don't know about you, but there are some things in my past that I'm not proud of, right? And I have had somebody in my past really continue to bring those things up. You know, those moments when maybe I wasn't at my best. I hadn't done the work, and you know, maybe I'd said or done some things that weren't as kind or considerate, or that they thought weren't as kind and considerate as I should be, or as responsible, that sort of thing. And here's the thing. I say that a lot, but here's the thing. The fact is, that's who I was back then, when I was younger, 20 years ago. That's not who I am today. And that's a really important distinction, because so many of us go through our lives regretting and carrying this burden of guilt, obligation, just baggage about things that happened in our past, and things that where we've learned from, we've grown from, we've apologized for. Obviously there are some things that should never be gotten past. We're not talking about those things. Just times when maybe you weren't a good friend or a good spouse. That sort of stuff. That's who we were. And if we have done the work, then to own it, that's who we were. And it's a really important distinction, because I think far too many of us go through our lives carrying this burden of guilt, of shame, of having taken on other people's opinions as fact, that something that we did or didn't do 20 years ago in a relationship, a friendship, that sort of thing, in family, that's branded us forever. And I'm here to say, because I'm a perfect example, I'm just one small person, but my life is a perfect example of the fact that when I look back 20 years, that person who I was bears only a slight resemblance to the person I am today, because of all the hard work I've done. Anyways, let's go find those jeans for my sister-in-law. All right, so now I just have to remember what store we were in when we saw those pants. I think it was this one. Okay, they're not open for 4 minutes. But it was definitely ivory and gray. Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Do you mind if I sneak in behind you? I'm good. How are you? Okay, I'm at the Benjamin Moore store, and they have art supplies. I'm not sure they're open yet. Oh, 9, good, because I need some watercolor brushes. Let's see, they have them. Hello. Oh, thank you. Thank you. No, I'm just going to peek at what you've got for watercolors.
These guys have a sample of each one of them, so if you want to see.
Awesome.
Exactly, and that's our student line. They are a 75 each, and the price for these guys are over here.
Thank you.
What my other tools.
Spinner, which we don't have socks on anymore. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, the pants have been shipped. I just dropped the car off to get an oil change. Oh, I should have told them to put washer fluid in. Cheaper for me to buy some. Put it in myself. I've not actually put washer fluid into that car yet. So anyways, now I'm going to get a couple groceries and something to eat because I'm starving. But what a glorious day, and that breeze is just perfect. I think I'm gonna hold this because I'm gonna try and be kind of quiet because my neighbor's home. So I'm back home and I've got my laundry in. and I'm watching the deer who loves to be in this meadow chewing on some foliage across the meadow. It's a perfect day. I'm going to go put my feet into the river here as soon as I'm done this because I'm a little flushed. So, like I said, it's really easy for us. I know I am definitely guilty of this, to just have that script, that that film playing in our heads. All the mistakes we made, all of the people we let down, all of the things that we regret. And it's really hard to let go of those. And it's easy for me to talk about it, but obviously it's a lot harder to do it. And it took a long time for me to get there. Once I realized, once I accepted, once I kept telling myself so that I would begin to believe it, that that was who I was, and that is not who I am today. It was so freeing. And now, those thoughts continue to come up. It's not like all of a sudden you decide that none of that happened and you're no longer going to have that script and you're no longer going to have that feeling in your stomach when you think back to some of the things in your life that you regret. That would be naive. If you have a way of doing that that doesn't involve illegal substances or legal substances, I would love to know what that is, but it's not as simple as that. So I actually learned a technique from my meditation and yoga teacher years ago that really, really helped. So here's the trick that I learned, and one that I hope will help you. And one that I do to this day and will continue to do for the rest of my life, because again, you don't suddenly stop having regrets. Whenever I have those thoughts, sometimes they're triggered by something somebody says. Sometimes they just pop in on days when I am not feeling very confident, when I have made a mistake at work or feel like I've not been the best friend, or just randomly in the middle of the night. Here's what my meditation teacher taught me, and here's what I do. And obviously you're going to modify this for whatever works for you, and if it doesn't work for you, you'll just ignore it. When I have one of those thoughts, one of those negative self-doubt, thoughts about those regrets, I actually picture it floating in and sort of floating in front of me. And I look at it and I make myself feel the feeling, which is hard, but I make myself feel that feeling of regret, embarrassment, shame, all of those things. And then I picture myself just sort of crumpling it up and then flicking it away. And that works. Like sometimes I will imagine those thoughts that I'm in this bubble, and those thoughts come along and I just imagine them bouncing off. One of those two things. Sometimes it's a smaller thought and I can just visualize it just coming in and bouncing off. Yep, I see it. I see you. Boing, off it goes. And for the big ones, I actually allow myself to acknowledge it, because when we avoid things, it doesn't make them go away. They're still there, and they come back bigger. They just continue to bother us. So if those thoughts come in, I actually allow the big ones, I actually allow myself to look at them, acknowledge, yeah, that was bad. Feel that feeling briefly, and then tell myself, but that's not who I am now. So, and it works. At first you feel kind of ridiculous, but the more you do it, or some version of it, whatever works for you, maybe you can visualize that thing on the side of the road and you watch yourself drive, look at it as you drive by, and then you can see it in the rearview mirror getting farther and farther away as you move forward. Maybe that will work for you. But these techniques, a technique like that, is so powerful and so useful, because what you're doing is acknowledging that this happened, because it did. And then you are letting it go. You're not pretending it didn't exist. You're not trying to make any kind of justifications or rationalizations. That's not the purpose of this. It's like, yeah, that happened. I take responsibility for that. And that's no longer who I am. And it's gone. It's a practice, like so many things in life, like meditation, like yoga, like so many things in life. It's a practice. But when you practice this, it becomes second nature. I rarely have to think about it anymore. Most of the time, I'm just watching it come in, bounce, and off it goes. And then it's done. Because when you allow yourself to feel it and then let it go, it's so freeing. I don't know why it works. I don't know really how it works in your brain chemistry. But all I know is that works. Get out of here. And it has made such a difference for me to move forward from things in my life that I regret. That's the work. And then just let it go. And you have to keep doing it, and keep doing it, and keep doing it. And eventually it gets easier. Those regrets will always be there because those events happened, but they will no longer occupy that place in your mind that keeps you stuck. And from moving forward, and from having the confidence and the sort of the knowledge, the belief that you're a good person, right? We all make mistakes. We all suck sometimes. And I'm sure I will suck sometimes in the future as well, because you don't get through life without regrets. That's not how it works. You try not to have huge regrets, but sometimes we do. And this is the process that I use to help move through them, to help sort of let the air out of the balloon of them, and just move past. Just remember, who you were is not who you are today. And who you are today is not who you'll be tomorrow and a year from now and 10 years from now. Because what we're doing as we're moving through life is we are learning. We're making mistakes, and we're learning, and we're striving to be better people. At least I hope we are. Maybe not everybody is. But in general, I think we are. The only way to be a better person tomorrow, a year from now, 10 years from now, is to acknowledge our mistakes, accept them, take responsibility for our actions and our shortfalls, and then learn, evolve, move on, and let go. And that process of letting go is the work, is the practice. And it does get easier as time goes on. And I think this works for most things. There are probably things in life, I can think of a couple, that maybe a person would never be able to get past or do this for. But we're not talking about those things. We're talking about the regular ones, the usual ones that most of us will experience, and that will sort of keep us stuck and keep that tape playing in our mind that maybe somebody else gave us about who we are, because we're not anymore. You're not the same person tomorrow. You're not. Because you can never be the person you were yesterday. We're always evolving and changing. And that is an encouraging thought, I think. Let me know if you have other tips, tricks. Let's share them in the comment section, because I think this is something that is sort of universally human for us to be this way. And if you've got something that has worked for you, let's just share that and see if it helps somebody else. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe. Remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, This world needs so much more kindness. I love you, and I'll see you next time.